Okay. I am going to do a tutorial on making a little gift bag, a little birthday bag, or you could say a little treat bag, little goodie bag, and you can use this same technique to make other sizes of gift bags. So my plan is to make a little bag with a drawstring, and I have cut my fabric. Let's see, the length is about 9 3/4, and the width, let's see, the width is about 8 wide. So it's a little bit longer than it is wide. I have cut 4 pieces of fabric. 2 pieces are going to be the outer fabric, and 2 pieces are going to be the lining. So the lining is going to be in the orange color, and I've cut them, tried to cut them pretty much the same size. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead. The first thing I'm going to do is give it a little bit of an iron. I'm putting a little bit of best press on it. I got that from Joann's, and I actually had never used best press before. It smells really nice. I kind of wish that I had used it before, and I think I'll probably use it from now on. But anyway, the first thing I'm doing is ironing my fabric. Okay, this is going to be the lining. I've got 2 pieces. Lay that by the sewing machine. And then I'm going to get my 2 pieces that are going to be my outer. All of these fabrics are cut to the same size. The 2 pieces for the outer and the 2 pieces for the lining. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the lining. Go ahead and cut my iron off. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can turn you around to the sewing machine. Let's get that, see if it works better with this light off. Maybe this light on. Okay. All right. Y'all, I keep getting a message that my orientation is locked, and it won't let me. Let me try this. Okay, that, we want to see the bed of the sewing machine. Okay. Okay, so I measured my fabric, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the lining together. Now you want your fabric to be basically pretty side to pretty side, but my fabric doesn't really have a pretty side. Let me try to line this up. the best I can. And I'm going to use just a few pins. Now I'm just going to be making a little birthday goodie bag. So I'm just going to pin my fabric together. Because I don't want it to move. Okay. I'm going to turn on my sewing machine. This is the lining. I'm going to put my stitch length down to 3. And let's check this out. I like to use my presser foot as my guide, but I'm going to move my needle all the way over instead of having my needle in the middle. Oh boy. Y'all, let's see what's happening here. Do I have both my threads? Ooh. Good thing I checked. You always want to make sure that you've pulled your threads out, that you've got a good thread tail for sewing. And I have put my needle all the way over. And this time I'm sewing without my pedal. I'm going to go backwards. And I'm going to go forward. Oh, needle down and go. Okay, what did I do? There we go. Speed up just a little bit. Adjust my fabric just a little bit. Okay. Okay, I'm going to back stitch at the end of my seam. Okay, put my needle down. Okay, now when you go around a corner, you want to put your needle down, and then you want to pick up your presser foot with your needle down and turn your fabric. I've sewed one side of the lining, and now I'm going to sew across the bottom. Okay, adjust my fabric just a little bit. Okay, I'm coming near the end. I'm gonna back stitch. Okay, let's see, I'm gonna go one, go back one more. Okay, I'm gonna put my needle down and I'm gonna turn my work. So I have sewed this side, I've sewed across the bottom, and now I'm sewing up the other side. And what I'm doing is I am making a treat bag or a birthday gift bag for my grandson. So I cut 4 pieces of fabric. I cut 2 pieces for the lining, and I cut 2 pieces for the outer fabric. Gonna go all the way up, stop, and lock my seam. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna get my pinking shears. So I left one part open. This is my lining fabric, and I sewed down, across, and back up. So I'm going to take these pins out. I'm going to clip my threads. Okay. Now, the way I'm going to finish the seam so that it does not ravel is I'm going to use my pinking shears. Pinking shears give you this little edge that looks like little triangles or little pyramids. And this keeps your seams from fraying. Okay, so I cut all the way down the first side. Now I'm going to cut across the bottom. So these bags are pretty easy to make. Okay, so now I've cut all the way around with my pinking shear, and now I'm going to get my outer fabrics for my bag. The first one I'm going to lay down face up, and then I'm going to lay the other fabric face down. I'm going to kind of line it up the best I can. And I'm going to go ahead and just put some pins in just to hold it together. And when I'm sewing around the edges, I like to put my pins in kind of in the middle, because then I don't have to take it out. I don't have to take my pins out as I'm sewing. I just have to remember to take them out when I get done. Okay, so I put 3 in the middle. I'm going to put 1 near the top and 1 near the bottom. Okay, and now I'm going to start sewing. And I still have my needle lined up towards the left. So I'm going to sew a few stitches, then I'm going to back up. Oop, I keep backing up. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to sew down the first side. I've got my presser foot lined up. Let's slow that down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go almost to the end, put my needle down, pick up my presser foot. Okay. Pivot my fabric, and now I'm going to sew across the bottom. Okay, I go all the way almost to the end. I'm going to go back a couple of stitches, put my needle down, go one stitch up. Okay, needle down. That is just, I think I need to back up just a little bit. Okay, needle down. Okay, needle down, presser foot up, pivot my work, and when I turn it like this, my presser foot is lined up. So now I'm going to sew the last side. Okay, I'm going to go all the way up and stop and then go back. Okay. There we go. Okay, now it's time to trim my threads. I'm also going to trim these threads that are fraying. Okay. Okay, so now it's time to take my pins out. Okay, and just like I did last time, I'm going to take my pinking shears and I'm going to cut around the 3 seams that I sewed. Okay, so that's going to keep my seams from fraying. Now I'm going to cut across the bottom. And then I'm going to cut this last seam. Okay. All right. So this lining does not have a right or a wrong side, but you want your fabric touching pretty side to pretty side. So I believe what I do here, I think I might have been supposed to leave. Y'all, I have to think about this. I haven't done this in a while. I think I was supposed to leave a little place on the side of my bag. All right. So I'm going to put my lining. How will this work? I think this will work. So I'm putting my lining inside of my bag. Push it way down in here. And I'm lining up my seams. Okay. I'm going to take the arm off of my sewing machine. Okay. Let's think about that. What if, let's see, let me poke my bag out. Okay, this is the outside of my bag. And this is my lining. I'm going to put this in my bag. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my arm off of my sewing machine. Okay. I've got my bag here. I'm going to heat my iron up. Okay. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do, let me get my little bag lined up right. Okay. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I don't want these. I want these to be finished too. So I'm going to clip the very top. Just kind of finishing these seams a little bit so it won't ravel. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Just the tiniest little bit. Barely touching the ends. That way when you look inside the bag, the seam will be finished. Okay, there we go. All right. So I'm going to turn my lining the right way. Now this is not how you make a tote bag. When you make a tote bag, you want to leave one of your sides open to turn your bag out. But that's not the way I did this one. Okay. Okay, now I want this to, I'm going to try to line it up. Put seam to seam. Then we're going to clip it. put a pin in it. We want it to line up. Okay. Put a pin in here, and I'm going to go all the way around. Okay. Now on this side, make sure I got my seams together. And put a pin in here. Okay. Seams are lined up on the sides. And put another pin in. Okay. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to put my needle in the middle because I want my seam to be smaller. And I'm slipping my bag onto my free arm. Okay. And I'm going to start sewing. And I'm going to stop and I'm going to back up. Okay. Now I'm going to start sewing, and I'm keeping my presser foot on the very edge of my bag so it will keep my seam consistent. Okay, I'm going to stop so I can adjust my bag. Come on, bag. Okay. Because I don't want it to shift on me. Make sure those seams are together. Okay, let's put our bag the right way. Okay, let's make sure our seams are still lined up. Okay, now this is how you can tell if you did a good job. When you get around to where you began, if you meet the seam, let's see, let me look at this. Okay, I'm going to take this out and put it back in just so I can be sure I get it just right. Okay. All right, we just got a little bit more to sew. I want to make sure that I put my needle down. Whoa, exactly where I was stitching. Okay. Okay. Needle down. Okay. And back stitch just a couple. Okay. Okay. All right, so here's my little goodie bag. There's the outside. There's the lining. Okay. And now I'm going to turn it inside out. Okay. And I'm going to come down. Okay. And I'm going to take my presser foot. Let's see. And I'm going to use my presser foot as my guide. Now I sewed, let me make sure. I sewed all the way around the top edge, okay? So now I'm going to put my presser foot, I'm going to line it up with where I sewed, and I'm going to sew around again. And this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew around the bag, keeping my presser foot lined up on that first line. And then I'm going to sew around one more time, and what I'm going to do is make a channel. And that channel is going to be where I thread a ribbon through the bag. And that's going to give us a little drawstring bag. So I need to go all the way around. Now the first time I went around, I was careful to keep this lined up. Okay, now I'm just going to back stitch a couple stitches, and I'm going to take it out. Okay. So I went around the top one time, and then I went around again, okay, the width of my presser foot. I'm going to do that same thing one more time, and the bottom two seams is going to be where we put our thread, where we put our ribbon. So I'm coming out just a little bit, giving myself a little more room. Let me make sure I get this on here good. Okay, so we're giving it just a little more room. Why is this not turning good? Okay, I'm being careful. But I'm making this stitch, I'm making this one a little bigger because this is the channel that my ribbon is going to go in, which is going to make me a drawstring bag. And if you make it too skinny, you won't be able to thread your ribbon through. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to open up the sides of my bag on the seams so I can get my ribbon through. Come on, get it right there. All right, now let's tie it. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, cut all my strings. Okay. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is right here in between my stitches, okay, all right, now okay, so right here I'm not cutting my stitch line. But I'm going in between. Oops. Gotta be careful. Okay. Come on out of here. Okay. Okay, so what I did is I sewed the lining, I sewed the outside of the bag, then I put them together and I sewed around the edge of the bag. And once I sewed around the edge of the bag, I sewed 2 more lines to make a channel. And now I'm going to put our drawstring through. All right, let me see where my drawstring is. I think we can use a pretty big one. Okay, so I'm going to take this drawstring. I'm going to put it in here. Let's see, we want to go. All right, let me take my safety pin. Okay, clip my safety pin. Okay, now let's see if I can get in between here. Come on. Okay. Okay, so I'm threading the safety pin. I've got, good morning, hello. So I've got my safety pin through the bag, and now I'm going all the way around. Oops, I lost my safety pin. Not good. Let me see if I can get this. Y'all, you don't want your safety pin to come undone, because when your safety pin comes undone, you got to start all over again. All right, so let's see. Let me try to do this with the pinking shears. All right, I'm going to thread this through, and hopefully this time I won't lose my safety pin. Okay, so I'm going to where I made the hole in the seam, and I'm putting my safety pin in between the lining. Come on, work with me. In between the lining. There we go. Put the pin through here. All right. Now, I'm going to thread it through. Hopefully this time my safety pin will not come undone, because I need to go all the way around. There we go. So I'm threading it through the channel. Okay, we're going to keep going to the other side of the bag. Okay, that didn't work. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, keep on threading that safety pin. It is not always the easiest thing to do. Here we go. Okay, now I've got 2 strings or 2 pieces of ribbon around one side of the bag. Now I'm going to tie a knot in the end because I don't want this to go through. So I'm going to have to tie a big knot. Because I do not want this string or this ribbon to come out. Okay. Okay. Let me tie another one. Okay, so here's our little drawstring goodie bag. And it's fully lined. The only thing I'm going to do now is go around and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, like and subscribe for more sewing videos.